All right, now the next one actually was in the Facebook group. I pulled this one out because it was, again, a thoughtful question. And I thought, man, I wonder if a lot of people are thinking about this maybe in a little bit too strict of a way. So I wanted to bring this one up. This is Joe M., and he put this one in the Facebook group, and it says, regarding mowing height, I've been following Alan's advice for years and trying to mow tall and mow often. I have been seeding with Black Beauty and Black Beauty Ultra for 4 years now. Those are Kentucky Bluegrass blends, I believe. He says, when I cut at 3.5 inches, it seems to lay down or curl over more. But when I cut at 3 inches, it looks perfect. I want to know how many of you are cutting at 3.5 to 4 inches with the same type of grass, or are some of you venturing lower? And so what Joe is asking here, and what Joe is saying is, man, I'm following the rules, but I'm sensing from my experience with my lawn, from learning my own land, I'm sensing that even though Alan says it's best to mow tall, I like mine a little lower. What do you guys think about that? Any of you other guys break that rule of mowing your Kentucky Bluegrass, your fescue, your turf-type tall fescue, your perennial rye, your St. Augustine grass? Any of you break the rule of mowing that tall? Those are the ones you should mow tall, by the way, guys. If you want to know what grass types to mow tall, jack your mower blade all the way to the top, St. Augustine grass. Definitely turf-type tall fescue, definitely perennial rye, definitely Kentucky Bluegrass. Mow them tall, baby. Now, that's the thing I say. Just set it and forget it, to quote Ron Popeil. And that's a good strategy for most of you as you're learning, because there's so many other things that you're taking on at that time. I want mowing height to be out of your purview. I don't want it to be a complication for you. I really want you to start enjoying the mow. I really want you to just only focus on getting the mowing done. You know, one of the biggest challenges I have, and the reason I tell you guys is to mow twice a week, is because I know that most of you will end up mowing once a week. And if I said mow once a week, some of you will only mow every 12 days. So if I push you really hard to mow twice a week, you'll average out somewhere around every 6 days. And that's a win in most cases, especially if last year you were mowing every 10 days and this year you're mowing every 6 or 7. That's a win. That's an improvement. So I push you to perfection, knowing that you're probably going to fall somewhere a little bit short, but that falling short is good as long as you keep striving for perfection, as long as you get better as you go along. That said, mowing tall is not something you have to do for your entire life. Once you get to know your lawn a little bit better, definitely make a better decision. Definitely make your own decisions. Definitely move out of my comfort zone and move into your own. I kind of look at it like this way. Like when I was a little kid, let's say, 3rd grade, I had some boundaries about where I was allowed to go. Typically, it would be to the neighbor's house next door and maybe to the neighbor's house across the street. That was it. Those were my boundaries. I wasn't allowed to cross this street, and I wasn't allowed to cross that one, right? Those were my boundaries. But as I got a little bit older, and as my parents trained me, and as I had more experience with crossing streets, and as I learned to ride my bike a little bit better, I learned more confidence with my tools, which was my bike and my skateboard, and maybe I was 10 years old, I got larger boundaries. But then it was, you can't cross these super busy streets. For us, it was 22nd Avenue North, 30th Avenue North, 49th Street, 34th Street, 34th Street. Oh, that's a dangerous one in St. Petersburg. Don't cross that one. So I wasn't allowed to have those boundaries. But I got bigger and bigger boundaries as I learned and as I gained more experience. And then, of course, once I became a teenager, then you don't have any boundaries. You're wild. You're running all over town all hours of the night, right? You're experienced. You've gained things. The one thing you gain from the time that you're 7 years old to the time that you're 16 is just speed. Just straight up, you just gain speed. You just gain speed. Why do you have speed? Because you've just matured physically, so you can do things better. You can do things quicker. And the same happens in your lawn. As you start to learn your lawn and what's the best pattern to mow it in? Do I weed whack first? Do I mow that first? How do I mow it over here so I can get this done quicker and I don't blow clippings up into the flower beds? And how do I do this when I'm fertilizing? How do I get this done quicker? Where do I always run out of product so I can make sure I don't run out of product at that spot, or I'll refill before that? You just gain speed. Same thing with the lawn. As you gain that speed, that also helps you to gain confidence. And that's the big one. Confidence also comes from experience, and more experiences in your lawn. The more you experience what your lawn will do and won't do. And that's what we're talking about here with Joe, is he's experiencing the fact that, hey, I'm crossing those busy streets that once were dangerous to me, but I'm not seeing that they're really so dangerous. And in fact, what's on the other side of that busy street's actually pretty cool. Actually, a lot of fun over there. There's a new baseball field I can go play at, a new tennis court, which is what it was for me when I was a kid. We only had one set of tennis courts you could go to, but once you got older and you had more mobility and you had more experience, there was more sets of tennis courts to go to, and so there was more kids for me to dominate on the tennis court. Yeah, because I was a tennis player when I was younger. Now I'm terrible now, and I could tell you a story about a young man, a millennial, those terrible millennials that put me in my place a couple years ago, destroying me in tennis because I still thought I was 18 years old. But either way, I had those more tennis courts that I could get to with more experience to dominate more people in tennis. Wow, I weren't really off on that one, but you get the idea. And that's the same thing with you, Joe, and that's the same thing with you guys with mowing. Once you have all the other stuff down, right, and you're not scared to cross the busy streets, you're not playing Frogger anymore, by the way. That's the best way to teach your kids how dangerous busy streets are, is to give them that old game Frogger. I used to play it on Atari, by the way. But the idea being, once you gain more experience, once you're faster at correcting problems, once you're faster at avoiding problems, well, then you can go out and start mowing lower and see what you can do with it. That's how you can make your lawn unique. I mean, obviously, Connor Ward is the standout right now that we talk about, that mows Kentucky bluegrass at, I don't know how tall it is, but it's with a real mower, half inch, or it's probably lower than that, right? And he abuses his lawn like an old pair of jeans and all kinds of crazy stuff. But what you guys don't know is that Connor has so much experience with his lawn because he mows it every day. He mows his lawn every single day during the summer. He also has a nice mild climate, and he knows how that mild climate works. And he knows when he can push the lawn. He knows when he needs to slow it down with PGR, plant growth regulator, and all kinds of things. He has really learned. He's crossed a lot of busy streets to get where he is. And in fact, every year he has to relearn some of those busy streets because his lawn gets trashed from the environment that he lives in. So he can mow super low, and he has an outstanding lawn that people stop by and want to just, it's the most Instagrammable lawn probably in the West, I would say. Maybe in the country, I got to say, because of where it's at. So he's flexed his real low, but he's got that experience, he's got that speed, he's got that confidence to do that. And Joe, you can too. But in the meantime, for those of you starting out, don't make mowing your first flex. Flex with fertilizer if you want to do it that way. Use less. See how you do there. Flex less fertilizer and see how you do if you want to flex. Or when you're just starting out, flex more fertilizer. Hit the lawn every 3 weeks instead of every 4. Don't do that every week. Don't do that for more than 2 or 3 weeks, please. I feel like I'm preaching at you here. But go ahead and flex that. Flex your fertilizer at first. Learn what that does. Gain your experience there. Then you can start flexing with your mowing later. But in the meantime, mow tall. With that, as always, of course, let's hope for the best.